This is the tiny Japanese town that we built last episode. In this episode, we are going to do a major expansion, not only filling the area that is left here, but also expanding to another side of the map, which is Hiroshima. So it's keeping with the style of mainly building Japanese buildings. It's winter right now. We only have 5,000 inhabitants. And I mean, we want to be more than just a tiny town. We want to be a big town or maybe even a city. Let's see where we continue. I immediately see we have a lot of traffic jam, though that might be just because of many new people moving in and the fact that there's a traffic light here that's probably unnecessary. Without it, the traffic should probably move way smoother. And of course, another problem is that there is no other highway exit, just this one. Maybe we'll build one right here later. But for now, let's try to fill some of these last areas that we have left here that are still empty. So we can leave this part of the town for a bit and move over to a new area. One thing we are missing so far is garbage collection. And for that, I'm going to unlock the recycling center or possibly the incarceration plant. Let's actually pick the incarceration plant, though it is crazy expensive and we can't really afford it. Due to the wind direction, it could make sense for us to build it somewhere right here. But first we need $1 million. So first we need to zone more, and zone more we can. Let's get in more offices and commercial directly along here. Ooh, we have the new parking streets. Maybe I should try them out as well very soon. I mean, we could try this here directly under the bridge, just like that. There's a lot of parking here now. Fix up the zoning that it's very clean, and then we can add Japanese commercial as well as a bunch of offices. And I think they changed the icons actually. They look new. I've never seen that before, but we don't mind. We add more offices here as well, and the middle part will just be a park, and there's so many new parks. That's actually really great. They changed a lot. I'm not sure what I missed. I'm not following the updates very actively, but apparently things are happening, and that's great. Let's connect up all these pedestrian paths just through the snow. And this is just a seating area. I don't think we really see it right now, but of course we also need a bunch of trees, some of these and some bushes as well. That makes this area way more developed. And then we do the same thing for the other side, add a bunch of commercial so people can go shopping, speed up the time. Look at the parking and all these cars moving in and out here. It's a really busy place. What's the store? Electronics. Okay, you can't complain about customers, but these parking lots, they look really great. I'm very happy about that asset. Next, I'm just gonna do the same thing we just did with the area over here, possibly adding some low rent housing somewhere here on the other side of the highway. I have just built out the other side here as well. Again, some parking street. This looks really nice. A lot of office and some low rent housing because, well, they don't have a great location here right next to the highway. Lots of traffic, and there's the wind turbines and of course some trees. I mean, this is the positive part about it. Now, after reaching Boomtown, we also have $500,000 in income and crazy revenue, which means I will take a loan for $500,000. This barely impacts our budget, and then we're getting an incarceration plant for our city, but at the same time we need to rework the power lines a tiny bit. Let's plop it right here. This basically means we can get power lines over the river directly to this plant, and then we'll run it underground to the transformer station. I guess this somewhat makes sense. The street needs to be expanded so all these vehicles can leave. I'll add more industry on this side here where it makes sense, right here as well. With that, the industry side of that island is pretty much filled. When we're running out of water, this is a problem because we don't have money. Let's let that wait for a second and plant some trees just to make it look somewhat nicer, and a lot of bushes. This always helps a lot. That just wasted all our money. Let's take a tiny bit bigger loan, 50,000. That should get us water, right? Yeah, that gives us water. We add another tower right here, and that still doesn't solve our issue, meaning this incarceration plant actually takes a whole lot of water. And we're actually in the minus now, which might be a problem. But right now we need to fix the water issue, put down another water tower, and we can probably fix the budget by adjusting the service fees or like the service budget, putting garbage at 50%. Yeah, this would have been our most expensive service. I mean, this plant is giant, but it also has a lot of trash vehicles leaving with lots of things. It's producing electricity, 2.4 megawatts. That's not so much yet, but I think it can be more. What does it say? Up to 40 megawatts. Okay. And then it even has upgrades, but that's something for the future. This part of town I will call complete now. I'll let it run for a tiny bit, see how things settle in, see how this traffic solves here, but the traffic is already flowing well. Get back a bit of money, pay back some of the loans, so we can then expand towards a new area. The city is now steady above 8,000 inhabitants. There's no traffic jam, and I don't see any relevant issues with the city. It's making a ton of money, even though we're paying still a bunch in loans. All the houses are the Japanese ones, apart from these low rent houses. Same with commercial, and of course industry. There is no country specialization. So it is time to expand, and the logical step would be to go somewhere along this highway, either on this side here towards then some higher density towards the shore, or playing on this peninsula with the options of having a train station somewhere here, possibly all the way at the end here, that then could connect up to further points, even expanding along here, which would make this the main hub of interchange and basically the main line of our city. That sounds very enticing, but we have to overcome major challenges here. A rail yard would probably be somewhere around here. Then we would have to make sure that the train station is connected well, and add another interchange somewhere around here for people to leave, probably in both directions, but mainly towards the water. Let's try to tackle these challenges, starting with, well, a train station somewhere here. But before that we need a rail yard, and I'd really love to hide it somewhere out here. I will try to sneak in a rail yard right here. There is this mountain that I want to keep. It's not really realistic to have this kind of massive terraforming project removing an entire mountain, but I will plant some stuff on it so I can see where the mountain is. And then let's also put down the train station first. There is no Japanese one, so we'll just go with this massive one, and we for sure need to remodel the train lines a good bit. So let's remove them and work out the train station first. Train station goes here. Overall crazy expensive as well. And then let's figure out the train lines. The main line will now have to do a curve into this terminal, and then of course there are even more other lines as well that need to be connected up somehow. I'm thinking that one of those lines could continue to move down this other peninsula, possibly to something like a cargo harbor. Let's see how it intersects here. Yeah, it's basically at the floor, and then it could connect up here if there is a cargo harbor, or even on the other side. That already gives us a lot of rail infrastructure. The other two rail lines I'll keep unoccupied for now, though one of these will most likely just go out, cross the river, at least somewhere, and then go into the mountain to connect up somewhere up here or over there. And then both of these lines will just do the same. So it is sorted out just like that. And on this side, they just end. So this is an end station for some of these lines. Lastly, we need to connect up the rail yard just like that. Here it did something weird. Let's fix it, or just try again. Totally. Some of these small things really take a long time to perfect, but they make a huge difference to the overall look and feel of the city. So I don't want to rush it too much. I think that should make it that the rail yard works. It needs a road, and I guess overall roads are needed here. I'll leave some space at the top for a bus depot. We'll probably need that. And then we have the big road passing under the street and going directly over the river again. And then it can connect up with this road over here. Of course, we need to terraform a tiny bit just to make it work. And I'm directly building out kind of a coastal road that just runs along the side here. I guess that's always a good idea. And it sets an amazing outline for everything that will come up in the city. Of course, it doesn't support major traffic, but it also doesn't have to. I created this small underpass right here for the street to work. It looks a bit wobbly down here, but maybe that gives it character. Then let's draw in the train lines. Just one from the outermost point to an outside connection, connected up here, and on the other side a connection to the other outside of the world. And let's see if the trains work. Yeah, trains are leaving here, even though some of these parts are not connected. And it looks like the train station is up and running. It has some extensions as well. Let's wait for our first passenger to arrive. If they arrive, let's see. There's a train coming. 4 people in there. Now 0, so they all came here. Let's wait for them to leave. I'm not sure if they left, but here they are. Where are you going? You are going to Rust Bucket. So your work, I guess. That's perfect. You're not coming by car. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. I'll leave some space for bus transit over here. Let's build out the road layout a bit more. We know this will be a massive roundabout. Probably a ton of traffic going through there. I'll directly set up a bit more parking over here. Love the way it looks. Could even be a third one. Yeah, why not? So a lot of options for people. Maybe I'll move one to the other side, make it symmetrical, delete the other one. I actually have another idea. This could be the start of some very small pedestrian shopping area. Basically just a giant square, but one that's connected up. Then it will have a pedestrian connection over here as well as on that side. And then there'll just be Japanese commercial in here. Maybe we can squeeze some offices, maybe even more up here. And that gives some shopping opportunity and maybe even a somewhat realistic feel to this train station area. Still only 3 people coming, 9 people leaving. Some people are already using the train station, which is great. That's exactly what we need them to do. And now we'll see how we can populate this area. Of course, it's not too attractive because of the highway. That itself might be a major issue. The solution I have for it, though, is really janky. Let's see if it makes any sense and if it even works somewhat. I'd connect this up like so. And then from the other peninsula, there will be a street coming through. Probably meeting this major street here as well, and then just connecting up. This needs to be fixed though. It can't be traffic lights, and yeah, you must have the stop sign. No pedestrian crossings as well. Why are you stopping? You should have priority. We unlocked milestone 7, but I don't want these guys to stop. Maybe they just stop because it is actually an intersection. Oh well, then it is what it is. And we actually missed one part, which is the thing I just said. An intersection. We don't have one yet, and I'm not too sure if we will have one. I mean, we for sure need one here, and we should fix that now, because further down the line it will just be bigger problems. Maybe a partial cloverleaf is the way to go, but to find out, we need to demolish a whole lot of streets that we just built. That's a big pain, but there's no way around it. We need to delete even more, just to see if this placement here could possibly work. In terms of lanes, it's not too complicated. It should be straightforward. Connecting these up doesn't look too great, but okay. Then connecting these up, it splits not at a very nice place. Let's try to make it better, just like that. The bridge is a tiny bit better. Not sure what the elevation here is doing. And with that, the streets are connected up again. And now we have different options. We want to connect the roundabout, that's for sure. So this needs to make this curve. And then this link is really problematic because I don't want anything in here just for traffic reasons. It also means that these two sides will probably be more disconnected than originally intended. But we can lay a footpath underneath that bridge, and that will then connect up to this area. I'm really not sure if this is a good solution, but this is the only solution I can think of right now, so that it is not fully disconnected. And now we can actually use the space to get in a bit of Japanese medium density housing in these areas, as well as Japanese businesses up here, some businesses here, and a few housing units, though they for sure don't have the best location, but they will get a park. Let's unlock some more parks first. There will be a passage park, and then of course the usual trees. Those are really important here because of the highway, so there's not too much sound crossing through, and we have a lot of traffic coming in. That's good. We can see that the interchange works, and of course, since people are moving in, there's always way more traffic. We're still making good money. I will pay back a bit of the loan, and now let's figure out how we fill this area. We need a bus depot for sure, and then some sort of bus station. I guess I'll go for 2 small bus stations, if we would have the money, that is. And then there will be another one beside it. I guess we'll get to that. We can already put in the pedestrian crossing, so everyone can just pass through. And then that leaves a giant area for development, specifically for, well, development that we can use for one with pedestrian streets, and then offices and commercial. Let's get this in. Then I'll get a pedestrian street crossing through, and maybe even another one. Just like that, we can connect these things up and also make sure that we have the pedestrian connections for people that want to use them. They of course will have the opportunity to do so. Even more crossings right here. Right here, pedestrian zoning is all about connectivity. This is just for zoning purposes. And now we can get in more offices, a bunch more commercial, and I'll fix the zoning up here. That will allow us to get in even more offices here and here, and the rest will just be trees, nature, as well as some park, maybe a hedges park right next to the next bus stop. I'm not sure if we can afford it yet. It costs 100,000, but let's also deactivate it. And now we have the potential for buses in our city as well. That's great. So we can zone them anytime we want to or we need to. And it's already up to 10 people arriving per train. Well, not too many people arriving per train, but it will fix itself once we zone more. We now appear to have problems with healthcare. That makes sense. We just have one small clinic. So let's see what we can do here. Patience is not the problem. It appears more so that it is the cars picking everyone up. Let's just solve that by adding another clinic right up here next to the school. It makes sense. That should work well. And with that, we just hit 10,000 inhabitants. That's a great number. Yet we still need to grow more. So I am building a new extension right here to the city, which runs off this highway interchange. And then these should probably connect somewhere here as well. Plop in a roundabout while we can. Just some very basic connections. And I also want to get a one-way street off here just to connect up with that road. It looks really ugly. Maybe I'll fix it someday. Well, no, I'm gonna delete it. But somehow this needs to be connected up. But first, let's zone a new district. I'll use a bunch of parallel running alleys, and these will house a ton of medium density housing, so to say. And of course, as always, I'll fix up the zoning. Apart from one thing, there will be a pedestrian path running across the entire length. That should help a lot with walkability, and I'll block everything in so the housing is actually zoned on the alleys and not on, well, any of these side streets. That should help traffic a lot. With that done, it's, well, time for summer or spring, I guess. Oh, I'm so happy that it's green again. I'm really annoyed by the white. But more importantly, it's time for some mixed use housing right here. Japanese, of course, and then a bunch of Japanese medium density, maybe some mixed use on the side. If it zones quickly, why not? We'll have some Japanese shops right here, maybe leave some space for parks or services in the middle for now, and then more of the mixed use. more of the medium density, and I'm leaving some space in between so that we can add some paths. So just through here, this will be a really walkable part, almost like a gated community. I mean, technically we could make it a gated community, but it doesn't look too crazy exclusive, so we keep it for now. Let's use the opportunity of summer to check out the places we've built. So this is the train station area, this is the industrial area, and these are the in-between areas that we've built. There's a bit of traffic jam going on here. Let's fix it by removing the traffic light. That always works. Perfect. And then let's go back to what we're building here. Of course, this train overpass is a problem, but we'll fix that in a future episode. For now, I really want to reach Big Town because it gives high density housing that we could actually directly use. The end compartment here, I will structure, well, a bit more just whatever comes up. I'll be really excited to what this will look like at the end, and the middle will get a bit of sports opportunities, basketball court, outdoor gym, tennis court, and then same as before, more medium density housing. A lot of people will move in here, at least I hope so. And to make it look nice, as always, we add a bunch of trees, spruce as well, and some bushes. And we already made a new quarter. I think the end of this looks really good. I hate this part. I'm not sure how to handle that. And we have some issues with services. There was like a traffic accident. Not the best thing that can happen. Since we only have a cemetery so far, I'll actually add a crematorium. Maybe somewhere here along the main street. Let's put it close to the highway for now. Just right here. It should have hearses leaving quite soon and picking up some of the slack. Next up, there must be another train station right here somewhere. Let's put it down here, and then we can already connect up these two hubs. Just have a train run between these two stations. This should allow for good amount of more mobility, and we'll see if people actually use this. Next up, I'll put down another elementary school right here next to the train station. We really need it, and technically we also need a high school quite urgently. Maybe we can even fit it in right here, and then for all these evicted companies, we'll allow them to rezone back here. That should solve good amount of our school problems. Yes, it's looking way better now. That should help the economy as well, and it should also make this train station possibly a tiny bit busier. Then of course we can add offices and yeah, commercial to the train station area, as well as a tiny bit more space for, well, high density as soon as we unlock it. Let's prepare for that. We should hit milestone Big Town any day, and that should give us high density. And we just hit milestone 8, which unlocks, well, UK city apartments, but high density housing. Sadly, there is no Japanese high density housing, only UK and the normal one. Let's use the North American high density housing and get some. Oh, whoa, these are big. Not actually sure if they fit in here well. Let's try the UK high density as well. Let's remove some of these skyscrapers again, just so we don't have too many crazy big buildings. And let's just see what happens here. Yeah, these North American towers are pretty ugly. Let's not use those, that's for sure. Get rid of them. Maybe the UK housing is better. Let's see. And wait for it. This is the UK high density housing. I guess it fits in way better with this kind of city. I feel like it almost looks like the medium density Japanese. I mean, this has 200 residents. Okay, this has 80, like these medium density ones. So for sure, way more people live here. Let's get in a bunch more of those and see how it develops. This will for sure as well generate a lot of traffic right now, but that's fine. And while we're at it, some small parks never hurt anyone. Just put some in, and we'll use the front row for, well, even more low density business. In this case, the normal one. I just realized we need to fix zoning right here, and then one row of normal commercial. I think these are a bit higher than the Japanese ones would be. And now we're satisfying a lot of demand, at least for the high density. And the city is really coming together. There's still a lot of empty space over here, I guess some parts could be solved by planting trees on this mountain, just so it's visible that nothing is getting built here. And this is basically a nature area. And maybe I could solve my issues with this land over here by adding some farms. I don't think they generate much traffic, and I guess it could look really nice. I mean, let's just try it. And I also don't think that it would be too unrealistic having farms really next to the railroad. I guess that's quite standard in many places of the world. Usually, I guess farms are there before the railroads are being built, and then farmers sell their land to allow for trains being built. This is a cotton field. Let's quickly check the demand meter. Yeah, we need livestock. Does livestock even need arable land? Oh, I'm not too sure. I don't think that they need it, but I'll place it here anyway. This is a really oddly shaped segment where probably zoning houses would be quite difficult anyway. So actually it's a pretty good solution, and it should look quite nice at the end as well. These are 2 farms right here, and then I'll get in 1 more grain farm, actually quite a big one, and that way we also don't need to place many trees here and still get some variety in texture. That's pretty good. And maybe this can also solve our problem over here. I guess it does. Just make it a giant carrot field, and that means that the empty space is not wasted but actually used. I'm actually really happy about this now. We detail out a tiny bit here, put down some trees, and now there's traffic jams for all these people who want to move in here. That means that technically more people should arrive via train, I would guess. Well, just 3, better than none. And this area also needs its own hospital, apparently, with these many requests. That's done. Finally, let's close down this area of the train station right here, just like that. I think without any grids, this looks quite fine. There will be a ton of people living here. We could maybe even try out some style and check out the urban prominent mixed housing. I've never built that before, not sure it looks, but what we need to add for sure is another Japanese police station just right here. I don't like this asset too much, it's really empty, but oh well. Oh, these mixed houses, they look nice. That's pretty good, but that also means we should make this train station modern, just so these things fit better together. Maybe add a path all the way through here, and while we edit, a park, and then let's mix it up. Some Japanese medium density, because why not? A basketball court right there, and then finally spicing it up with, well, trees as always. Overall, I think this area looks quite amazing. These newer-ish houses, they look great, and they also have good variety. This is then kind of some older build. These Japanese medium density houses are also great. This town is really coming together, and I'm excited for how we can expand it further along the rivers. Lastly, let's set up some districts, and please, if you have any suggestions in the comments of how we could name these districts, please let me know in the comments. Then I would name them something you would like to name them. We will have this first district, or technically it's the 3rd one, because it's the last one we actually built up. Then we have the technically first district, which is the original one we built, the origin of our city. It includes the industrial area with the incarceration plant that we built and the wind turbines. And then there's the second district, which is all the way over here with the farms and the train station. And there's still a lot of work to do for the next episode, finishing things up and building even more things. But that's great. I'll name them 1st, 2nd and 3rd for now. The districts are now renamed. There are a bunch of traffic jams, and man, there's many people walking around. It's amazing, but I really assume it's because of all these people moving in here. Though yes, there are not that many connections here. We could make one more bridge just crossing here. Though often the game just doesn't let me wanna place it. Like, I can build from here, but not from there. Kind of weird. And yes, this part of the city is not really that well connected. Maybe we could try something right here. For many, I would assume that for most of you this looks really weird, especially since there's no water passing below it. But I think these T-bridges over water actually exist in Hiroshima, so it's not that unrealistic, to be fair. And I like it here, so we'll keep it. The city is still growing fast. We're sitting at 18,000 inhabitants, and growth has been quite big with all these higher density areas being zoned. We're up to 1 million, which means we'll finally repay our full debt. that we still have left over from buying this incarceration plant. And with that, we've built 2 train stations, a new district right here. Over here, the other train station with some rural area in between. This is a major one. We've created the groundwork for future rail lines towards the mountain here, an incarceration plant, many new buildings, and most importantly, space for many new citizens. We started around 5,000. We're now close to 20,000, so we're almost 4x our population, and it's still growing. We have a lot of demand and also a lot of space to grow. Let me know what we should build next in the next episode. Probably it will be fixing these rail lines and expanding the city even more, and maybe then some other problems will come up that we will have to fix. Until then, enjoy your day and happy gaming.